Hello! We're going to go over some definitions just so that we have the basics of vocabulary in order to be able to communicate better. So we're going to talk about expressions, equations, and solutions. Specifically, we're also going to talk about solution sets. So a variable is a symbol, which is often a letter, and it stands in place of an unspecified number from a specified set. So that sounds kind of funny because it sounds kind of convoluted, but mathematicians a lot of times are trying to find the most specific way that they could say something. So for example, we might say we've got 3n plus 1, and n here is a variable, and it might stand for an integer, like it could be, n could be allowed to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so we could think about all the different values that this expression could be based on that variable. So the variable is an unspecified number. I don't know exactly what it is, but I do know that it comes from a specific set. So we'll talk more about what the specific set is later. Okay, so what is an expression? So an expression is like a mathematical phrase. Just like we have phrases in English, it's a mathematical phrase, and it may or may not contain variables. The best way to really describe an expression or a mathematical expression is to give you some examples. So x squared plus 2x minus 3, that is an expression. Or x times 17 minus x, that is an expression. 1 over x squared is an expression. 5 is an expression. We can also have expressions that involve more than one variable. Something like x times y is an expression. This time it involves two variables. We could have x squared plus y times z. That is an expression involving 3 variables. Over here, 5 is an expression involving 0 variables. So an expression is like a mathematical phrase. It may or may not contain variables. Notice that if I substitute a value for the variable, it has a particular value. So let's say in this expression, I let x equal 2. Then this expression would have the value 2 squared plus 2 times 2 minus 3, which is 4 plus 4 minus 3, or 5. Oh, wasn't the best place for that. Okay, so an expression is like a mathematical phrase. Now, an equation is a mathematical sentence. Okay, so think about the difference in English. What's the difference between an English phrase and an English sentence? Well, we have equal sign, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to signs in equations. Well, I should also say if it has one of these, if it has one of these other symbols besides an equal sign, that's called an inequality instead of an equation. And these are possible verbs which connect to expressions. So these symbols here are the verbs in mathematics, and they connect expressions. So here are some examples. 2x cubed plus 17 equals 1. Our mathematical expressions that we are equating are 2x cubed plus 17 and the expression 1, and we want to say they're equal to each other. Or x plus 8 equals 9. X equals -2. Notice that some of these are a lot simpler than others. X equals -2, that's a very simple equation, whereas 2x cubed plus 17 equals 1, that's a more complicated expression. X plus 8 equals 9 is somewhere in the middle. We could also have x plus 1 times x minus 5 equals 0, So we could be multiplying two expressions and that itself becomes an expression. What makes it an equation is that equal sign in the middle. 2x equals 5x squared plus 11x. Notice that we could have variables on either side. We don't just have to have a single value on one side. Absolute value of x equals 5. Remember, absolute value is something that takes the inside and we take the we just make it positive, or at least non-negative. We're allowed to have absolute value of something be 0. There's a much more technical definition, but the one I said is probably the one you're more familiar with. So let's talk about solutions to equations. A solution to an equation is any substitution for the variable which makes a true mathematical statement. Remember, variables are these placeholders, or these letters that are placeholders for an unspecified value. Solutions are ones where we replace that variable with a specified value and we get a true mathematical statement. So let's do examples. X plus 8 equals 9. That is an equation. A solution to this equation would be x equals 1. Okay, why is that? Because if we replace x with 1, 1 plus 8 equals 9 is true. Another one is absolute value of x equals 5. One solution would be x equals 5, because if we substitute 5 for x, we get a true mathematical statement. Another solution to this equation, though, would be x equals negative 5, because the absolute value of negative 5 equals 5. So you are allowed to have more than one solution to an equation. So a solution set of an equation is the set of all solutions of an equation. So one solution is just any substitution of a variable that makes a true mathematical statement. The solution set is the collection of all solutions. So for example, if we take x plus 8 equals 9, there's actually only one solution to this equation. So we say the solution set is the set containing the number 1. That's the only solution to x plus 8 equals 9. Absolute value of x equals 5 actually has two solutions, and so our solution set is the set containing the numbers negative 5 and 5. These are curly braces right here. That's what those are. Okay, that's the indication that this is a set. Okay, so here we've talked about the definitions of variable, expression, equation, solution, and solution set. So make sure that you're familiar with these basic vocabulary words.